Valley Planning, and today we're going to talk about why the California High-Speed Rail project cannot get done. So basically, there's this report of corrupt clowns in the California government who didn't do anything. This audit report that was released by somebody, and is just saying, let's start to talk on camera. The auditor of the state of California, they're saying that the high-speed rail has poor decision making and contract management. Which, again, so the issue with this is all bureaucracies just get too big. Okay, so let's see what happened. Let's look through the report. Okay, I don't have time for this. So the problem is there was some corruption. For example, the firm to do the consultancy, which is to get all the details of the rail line, where exactly it should go, how the dimensions and everything, all those details. It was connected to the senator's husband, which of course that obviously signals that that firm was not hired because it knows what it's doing. It was just hired because people always hire friends and family government. That's what it's called. Contracts are an outside consultants, which is not the best thing for the state's interest, anyways. So again, it's just a bunch of incompetent fools who are in charge of this high-speed rail. Their organizational weaknesses have caused them to $1.3 billion worth of contracts were not being audited correctly for the monthly invoice reviews to make sure that no excessive money was being spent. Another issue is that the tracking logs were not being maintained by the contract managers. That was a guideline to make sure that the deliverables, which are the things that models or presentation PowerPoints that you show, to make sure that they know what you're producing. The logs of those were not being tracked. All 9 contracts that were reviewed by the audit office, not a single one had tracking logs. Claims that they have not spent enough time looking at environmental impacts, but in my experience, most construction projects actually spend too much time. Well, not my experience, what I've seen. They spend too much time. Overseen by board of directors, which is not a good sign, because when something goes wrong, not a single one of them can take responsibility. Even worse is that they're appointed by the governor, and not only do they appoint the governor appoints 5 of the voting members on the board, the legislature selects the other 4, and then 1 senator and an assembly member is appointed as a non-voting member, which is not good. Clown-ish morons have taken since 1996, when it was actually founded. They took until 1996, all the way until 2015 to actually start construction. And the section in the Central Valley will supposedly be done by 2020. Probably have incompetent contractors. Now this is what they should have done. They should have gotten each contractor for each section in each county should have been selected by the county. Breaking things up into smaller units always works. If something is in smaller units, then it'll go faster. And each small unit knows people more closely, might have personal relationships with these people, or might have done more research. Each one will select the best experts for their section. They can even share better experts. So even if one county wants to see, like say Kern County and Sacramento County are trying to see which one is better. Sacramento County found a better expert, so then they could recommend it to Kern County, and Kern County could use that, for example. If it does get done, and you see a bunch of service cuts in the future, just know this, remember this. They started this thing where they're going to blend the infrastructure, which means they're going to share it with existing infrastructure like Metrolink. And the problem with that is well, now it has to go slower, you have to run less trains, etc. Same nonsense that American rail companies have with using tracks owned by freight companies. So if you see lackluster service in the future, that is if it gets done. There's not a good sign that it'll get done, because given the way construction projects are going in the US, literally all of them are behind schedule. Like this one is, I believe, 13 years behind schedule, and over budget. Like this one is billions of dollars over budget. Apparently they have an oversight firm, so they hired a firm to oversee everything, and then the oversight firm would manage the contracts. And what happened with the contract is, this is an example of their incompetent buffoonery. The authority, so this is an example of what happened. In order to introduce, the authority approved change orders involving work the oversight firms initially determined was already required by the existing contract terms. However, the contract language was undermined by the assumptions that the authority had made during the bidding process. So, project 2/3, I don't know what that means, 2/3 or 2, whatever that means. The contractor, for example, for project 2/3 requested additional compensation for increased costs associated with disconnecting existing utility lines, which is a normal issue with train construction. You always have to disconnect a bunch of utilities that are underground. And in response, the oversight firm correctly identified that the contract assigned responsibility to the contractor, and therefore the contractor was responsible for the cost. But the oversight firm noted that PG&E, not those idiots again, had begun to charge a fee for disconnections that the authority had not specified in the information it provided to the contractor during the bidding process. So, you see, this is the issue. Nobody is communicating the correct information because they don't know everything. Now I see why they have to have, perfect experts, because they won't know what's going on. So the authority and the contractor had to negotiate, and the authority agreed to $2.7 million of money. The authority's failure to adequately coordinate with the key external stakeholder before beginning the bidding process undermines subsequent ability to enforce contract terms and limit costs. And another case is the oversight firm concluded that the contractor should bear the cost to redesign a bridge that did not meet Union Pacific standards. The authority later approved a change order against this. So there's a bridge that did not meet Union Pacific standards, and the contractor had to bear the cost to redesign it. The authority approved a change order against this because it had not executed an agreement with Union Pacific, thereby limiting the contractor's ability to coordinate with the railroad. A majority of the executed change orders came at the request of the authority rather than change of the contractors. Some of these were the result of fundamental changes to the construction project's plans. For example, the authority requested and executed a $153 million change order to extend one of the project's 2.7 miles north to connect the Madera County Amtrak station. Because the authority did not include this work in the original contract, it clearly required a change order. However, as we discussed in the following section, the authority requested many other changes that are not the result of fundamental changes to the plan system, but rather related to its decision to begin construction before completing critical tasks. How long does it take for them to complete these tasks? They need to stop forming committees. Let me see how many committees are in this. The authorities did not sufficiently account for known risks. Just nonsense. Committees did not show up a single time in this document, so that's plus, because committees waste time. What clowns are in this? We'll provide a link to this document in the description. It's actually quite easy to imagine. Just look at this map. The map should show up now. I just hope I coordinate the editing. Editing is really hard, but anyways. Hopefully the people who are doing the high-speed rail are not that lazy though, and they are able to actually do things. So again, I can't even find the map now, but look at each county on the map. See how tiny the section is? Like all you have to do is probably just build a station. Maybe just, I don't know, build a few, maybe 100 miles of track. Very easy. And you see, the issue is that that's not what they're doing. Each person has to manage contractors throughout the whole state, and because they're looking through the whole state, top-down things just don't work. You have to do things from the bottom up, or at least, get each, at least maybe top down, at least at the very most, just have, in order for each county to get a high-speed rail built according to this plan, and then whatever they do in between is their own. They can figure out what's best in their county. Just have connection points. Like, it has to go from this point on the border of your county to this point on the border on your county. And then they do everything in between. They take care of the stations, the lines, etc. All that stuff. And even if these clowns don't want to build a station, that could be fine too. They can... I just thought of something. They can build a line. And then once they see the economic benefits, they want to build a station. These people wasting time saying it's insulting to dismiss the importance of the Central Valley. Yes, the Central Valley is important. A lot of food is grown there. As they say, 3 million people live there. And there are certainly more important places in California, but all of California, there are definitely places in California that are more important. But yes, all of California is important because it is a very populated state. But again, they shouldn't be wasting their time with this. They should spend every minute they have not just joking about stupid government nonsense. They shouldn't even have politicians on there. Politicians are not experts. Politicians should not be serving on the High-Speed Rail Council. If any of them are politicians, they should be replaced with experts, because experts know what they're doing. Them working on some girders on a bridge, and again, they should have more crews doing it, and they should, like the Japanese or Chinese crews. Even though Chinese is low quality, the Japanese things are of high quality. That is what is the problem. But hopefully they will hurry up. 3/4 of a mile long. Replacing concrete girders over Highway 99. So again, it takes 15 minutes to walk that long. Now, of course, construction is not as fast as walking. Duh, everybody knows that. But the issue is they should be not taking too long. What's going on? So yeah. So let's see what else is going on. Ready for a discussion at the town hall. Okay, hopefully you're doing all the town halls at the same time so that you can get all the input at once so that I can hurry up and build everything. That would be a great thing, for example. And even better, do online things, have a YouTube channel where people could talk about it in the comments, or have those polls. What do you call them? The community posts. Since that's actually helped. Nobody goes to town halls anymore. It's just too weird. And people just are too awkward these days. Nobody goes to those. And nobody knows about them or wants to go or cares. So again, do it on YouTube. They are actually showing a lot of construction, so you can see what's going on. And of course, it's probably cherry picked. Yes, propaganda and stuff. But hopefully, they're doing the construction 7 days a week, as much as possible, instead of wasting time. Just hire more construction crews. I mean, it shouldn't cost more money. Each construction crew is going to work less hours because it will be done faster. So, it should be about the same amount of money. It might be slightly more. That'll help the economy, though, with creating more jobs. So, again, they should be creating more things. And they should have looked at all the details. The reason why they go have cost overruns is not the workers. Well, at least if they're not in New York. New York has issues with their unions, but in California, it's usually because they don't look at things like disconnecting utility lines. Like, again, that's why they should have experts doing it. They probably don't have experts, probably have politicians doing it, but they should have experts, because experts will know all these things that can occur. Like, disconnecting utility lines. A lot of the girders for one of the bridges was created in Kings County. I didn't know that was a county in California. I thought that was in Oregon, but that's a nice thing. That's a lot of jobs that are created. Hopefully, again, it's not just a girder for that bridge. It's a lot. But yeah, there's not too much information I'm getting from Twitter, which Twitter is probably obviously the propaganda outlet. So let me go away from that. Well, yeah, no stop on train tracks. Idiots in Florida. Florida man walks in front of a train and is surprised that they die. So, Virgin Rail, because The Virgin, what was it? No, not the Virgin Rail. That's the one to Las Vegas. That's Midbuilding. The Bright Line. Okay, the problem is Florida man keeps constantly walking in front of the trains and dying, and everybody's surprised and thinks Bright Line is dangerous. You have to remember, it's in Florida. Florida man lives there. Of course, people keep dying in front of the trains. Or and then of course, if it's in Florida, you should just build grade separated crossings because Florida man. Also, in any place to make it safer, but especially in Florida, California, and other third world countries, you should just make it as a grade separated crossing. The senator's husband again was connected to the consultancy firm, and these are basically just the types of issues. Um, Figuring out all the details for the contracts